Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, salutations. It's me, Sal. Welcome back to 2 Cents Toys. Tonight, doing a live stream to unbox quite a lot of things. So, friend of the channel and supporter Scott Hughes, week ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, was going to a convention local to him, and he's like, "Hey, you looking for anything?" And I was like, "Well, now that you mention it, no." Um, I keep a running list of things I'm looking for, and if people offer, I'm like, "Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, if you find these, let me know. I'll send you a payment, all that kind of stuff." And he did, and then that evolved into a slurry of donations. Now, he didn't ask me to go live and do this or anything. I'm doing this on my own as someone who also donates, or like sends gifts to people. There's something about someone opening it and you being able to see them do it that's the best part. It's, we don't do it for clout, we don't do it for recognition or anything. We do it because we support each other, and it's a nice thing to do, and it gives you the warm and fuzzies whenever someone opens a donation from you. So that's why I'm doing it. It's my way of saying thank you without just being like, "Hey, thanks, Scott." It's I figured his generosity, I keep coming back to that word, but his generosity really merited me doing this. So it's for him, and I'm glad you're all here. And there is a lot of people in the chat tonight. Holy cow. All right, well, let me say hello to everybody real quick before we start doing all of this. If I can find my cursor, there we go. So, Bjorn Jorgensen's here, Will McLaughlin's here, Gojatron, Daniel Carhoonen, or Bearman as I like to call him, Kieran Ball, Just Plain Stuff, Keith Knight, Monkey Boy Cloth Cut, let's see, Hut for You, Rebel Wookie, Master 742, and Galactus for Mac, Jesse Guajardo, and Jim Largo's here, Toolman's here. Let's see, am I missing anybody? There's Scott. There he is. Laser Pants is here. Hello, Drew G's here. Just Plain Stuff. Yep, there you are again. Tree Theodore's here. Sonny Frisch is here. Let's see, Jeff Morris. Oh, my Lanta. All right, so we got quite a few people. So this first box, and feel free to, KBA's here. Oh, okay, Retroblasting. Yeah, I was watching that stream. I was like, oh, sweet. I have something to do because I kind of woke up early. For those that don't know, I work night shift. So this is my 8 a.m. and I was like, kind of woke up a little bit early. I was like, man, do I go back to bed? Like, do I kind of, roll the dice on that, so to speak? And then I logged on to Facebook and I saw, hey, I'm going live. I was like, awesome, I have something to do. So, but, the point of the stream is to open up all these boxes from Scott, but feel free to ask whatever you want to ask. I know the Rancor is on everybody's mind. I did a live stream with Ryan on this channel about it, and, I have more than just a couple of thoughts on that. Jesse asks, where's Lio? Oh, well, that's a good question. Lio's a busy man, so there's no harm, no foul if he doesn't show up. I understand. So it's with as many live streams that go on, it's really hard to make them all. So I don't fault him if he's not here. But it's always good when he is. So, oh, Kal-El's here. Hello, Cal. So, yes, this first box is the stuff that I bought from Scott when he went to the convention. I think I remember what's in here. I have a really bad habit of doing that, and Matt Swafford can attest to this. Like, I'll buy things from people and kind of forget what I bought. So, especially with Matt, because when I buy things from him, they go off into a pile to kind of to save him on shipping. And then when they arrive, I'm like, well, I remember one of these things. So, but I think I remember what's in here. Like, I remember one for sure, but the other ones, I don't really know. So I'm going to try my best to not show anyone's address here, because I had enough forethought to schedule the stream, but not to black out all the addresses. So I'm going to try my best here. I'm also going to try to avoid all the shifty sounds, so, and be very gentle with everything. Because even though I have a boom for my mic, I have yet to use it. So anytime it shifts or moves, the sound travels through the desk and up into the microphone, makes noises and all that. So that's how sound works, I guess. All right. So he packed this to withstand a blast from a tank, I think. So a lot of tape on here. All right. My Atlanta. There we go. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. Oops. Okay. Okay. So I can flip this way. Let's do that. All right. There. That way I can fold the panel behind and keep it pinned. Let's see what we got. Try to catch up on the chat real quick. J-Man Geek says, 2 cool live streams today. Thank you very much. I always enjoy whenever Michael or anyone from Retro Blasting goes live. It just says, sounds like a good way to build to army build figures. Yeah, it is, especially since, where's one of them at? Oh, come here, you. I like to army build Deep 6 version 2, just because you put that helmet on, or you take off the torso, you can swap out pretty much any head and make it any character you want, because it's just a dive suit otherwise. So I tend to army build these guys. Because I need someone to fight the Cobra Bug. Brian Dillingham sends in Dillanism. Thank you very much. $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Juji says 15 people watching that haven't hit that like button. No, it happens. Sometimes like it's out of sight, out of mind. Like you're caught up in watching or what have you. So, oh, there's a card here. I'll have to ask Scott if I'm able to read this aloud or what. But I'll go ahead and open it up. Oh, there's glitter. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's just it's a Christmas card, so there's Merry Christmas and all that. So it says, "Believe in magic, believe in wonder, believe in joy, and have a Merry Christmas." Sal, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Scott, I will try my hardest. I appreciate the card, sir, but as it stands right now, I am supposed to be off for Christmas. I've worked pretty much every single holiday for the last 9 years, pretty much. But I'm actually supposed to be off for this Christmas just due to the way the schedule fell. But they're currently trying to guilt me into working on Christmas at the moment, so we'll see. And my dad is actually making a pretty substantial drive up here to be with me on Christmas. It'll be the first Christmas I've spent with my dad since 2012. So, and he's not getting any younger, but they don't seem to care about that because, reasons. So let's see here. Timothy Ward says, glitter bomb. Crap, I probably shouldn't say bomb online. Oh, crap, I did it again. Yeah. Yep. KBA says, Deep 6 2.0 is a massive... Yes, absolutely. Hut for You says, what do you... No, I no longer work in retail. I did. No, I have a job that doesn't really care about holidays and the like. So I don't talk about it much on the channel. I'll just say I wear a uniform for a living and leave it at that. Tulin says, this is the first Christmas Eve and Christmas that we have off at my job. Don't go into work. I do not have a choice, unfortunately. So if they tell me I have to be there, I have to be there. I can't get out of it. So the only way I can if I'm supposed to be at work and I don't want to be there, the only way I can not be at work is either I have to request leave or I have to be in the ER. Those are my two options. So, okay. So, oh boy, there's a lot of stuff in here. All right. Let's see what this is first. Ah, I know what this is. I know that little color right there from anywhere. Oops. All right. I appreciate a well-packed box as someone who packs. There he is. Who packs very well myself, or I like to think that I do. I appreciate a well-packed box. It's very important to me. Yeah, boy. Another Deep Six version 2. That's what I'm talking about. Love Deep Six version 2. And one that I've been looking for a while, Bullhorn. I know he's a 90s Joe, and they get crapped on a lot, but you can't tell me that a rifle that breaks apart into pieces and fits in a briefcase isn't freaking cool as heck. So, awesome, awesome, awesome. I think this makes 6 or 7 Deep Six version 2s that I have, I think. So, the other cool thing is, like, if you just pop the head out, that's just an empty dive suit, and you can hang it somewhere. Like, I don't know, just an empty dive. Like, I don't know. It's a very versatile figure, and I think he's very underappreciated. The one I'm really looking for now is the version 4 that's like highlighter yellow, even though he's stupid expensive because he was a mail away, and no one likes it because it's highlighter yellow. But it's something about that figure. I don't know. I think it's a cool design, but maybe when I win the lottery someday, I'll be able to afford that one. Excuse me. So okay, this has some weight to it. Let's see. Oh goodness. No, I do not want to start the updates. Thank you very much. Got a super chat from Tree Theodore. Thank you very much. Says Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time with your father. I will try my hardest. I'm really looking forward to it. So it's I try telling these people, the time with your parents is very limited. You don't know when it's gonna run out or anything, and they just don't seem to think that way. I guess I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I missed anything else. Yeah, lots of bubble wrap. Lots of bubble wrap. So Bjorn says, I always like to pack a box good, regardless if the people care about cardboard. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not one that really cares about like packaging, as you know. I'm an opener, but at the same time, like I'm not going to take that option away from somebody. Like if they intend to open the figure, that's great. Awesome, enjoy your toy. But I'm going to send it in such a way that you at least have the option, unless I'm told not to. Like, sometimes, like, I have this box that I'm forming up for Tony, and he's told me, he's like, hey, just open the stuff up and send it. It'll be lighter. You can send a smaller box that way. Okay, easy day. But let's see. You have to boil and pop. Not sure what you're asking, Hut, for you. Are you asking about the head coming off of Deep Six, or because you just unscrew the here? Where's what? I'll just use you. Come here, Rokondo. There's a screw in the back, and you just unscrew the screw, and you can pull the torso apart. It's really straightforward, really easy. That's not every single GI Joe, because there are exceptions, but that's the majority of them. Like, I don't know, probably 90% of them. Oh. Did Windows want you to start updates? No, not Windows. I have a Macintosh, and they're the same way. Same way. So, all right, let's see what this is right here. Let's see, Through Night. Oh, nice. There's a flashlight. Can never go wrong with another flashlight, I'm telling you. An Ifengro high quality knife. Well, I might put this box cutter down and use this. Let's see this mamma jamma here. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. This looks pretty freaking sturdy, if I say so myself. He says without even really opening it. Let's give it a look here. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. That is a nice knife. This might be my work knife from now on. Tell you what, I'm not going to use it to cut tape, though. I'm not going to sticky up the blade like that. Ooh, that just glides real easy, too. Ooh, like butter. This is a good knife. I feel like Aragorn. This is a good knife. But, yeah, this is nice. Thank you, Scott. I didn't know this was coming. That is nice. All right, let me get this bubble wrap out of here because we got like 5 packages to go through. So, but yeah. So how about that Rancor, huh? That's a hell of a thing. That is a hell of a thing. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, so sorry. No, you don't have to apologize. It's all good. If you don't know, you don't like I know nothing pretty much about G1 Transformers, so we can't. It's impossible to know everything about everything. Like, it's impossible. Some people have like an encyclopedic knowledge. Like Michael is just like this incredible genius of well of knowledge when it comes to this stuff, and I'm always just like, how do you remember all that? Like, if you asked me where my car keys were, I'd be like, somewhere. Hope I don't have to leave anytime soon. But let's see. KBS says, I think Bullhorn was from around the year I started slacking a lot. Yeah, so he came out in 90, so I was a year old, so I never saw him on the peg. Like, I didn't get my first Joe until I was like 3 or 4. Like, my first Joe, like, my older brother had some, but like my first Joe was General Flag, and I didn't get him till I was like 3 or 4. And by the time I was old enough to know G.I. Joe by name and all that, like, it was like Shadow Ninjas and all that kind of stuff. And to be fair, a phrase that everyone hates. Like, these are some of my favorites, like Mega Marines. I know everyone hates them except me, which is fine. If no one else is gonna love them, I will. But this was GI Joe to me when I was a kid. Like, this is what I saw on pegs. This was GI Joe. Admittedly, the 80s Joes, except for Battle Force 2000, because I'm not a fan of that, or Python Patrol or Tiger Force, really. But by and large, the 80s designs are superior. I acknowledge that. So, yeah. Sorry. Ding dong, the Rancor's dead. Yeah, it is. It's completely dead. Completely dead. Yeah. So, it says figure inside, huh? Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, I know what's in here. Okay, let me make sure that there's nothing else hiding here in the bottom. And Scott, I don't know if you know this, but I recycle all this bubble wrap. Like, I have a corner in my apartment where all this bubble wrap goes. So I just I recycle it, and it goes to other people. So, speaking of 90s Joes. I know what this is. La la la. Okay. This is a Joe that I'm sure no one cares about but me. But I really like this design. And it is Cutter version 2. Ah, there's more tape. I thought there was. Come on. There we go. I'm getting too much glue residue. Heck yeah. So I know that, the DEF, like the neon colors and all that, but I really like this design of Cutter. I don't know why, but I just do. So, plus he's got a freaking grappling hook that launches. What's not to love about that? Like, grappling hooks were instantly cool. So who else was available? We had Duke, Wetsuit, Roadblock, Big Bear, Destro, Flak Viper. So, funny story about the Flak Viper. I don't remember him existing, but I do remember his his missile launcher backpack thing. I remember that existing in the house, but I never saw this figure. And so I thought that was a jetpack because if you flip it upside down, that's kind of what it looks like. And so his rocket launcher backpack became a jetpack in playtime. Oh, there's General Flag, Gung Ho, Barricade, Wild Bill, Firefly, Cobra Eel. So cool. Oh, we got Bulletproof, Shockwave, Mutton Junkyard, Headman, and Headhunters. These I know are really popular with people. I think it's the shotgun or whatever comes with that guy. So, but yeah, so cool. I don't see what's not to love. Like, I don't know. I like this kind of stuff, so I'm very happy to have this. It originally sold for $2.03 at one point. Let's see. Let me catch up. KBA says, I think I'd have liked 90s Joes more if the colors weren't so neon, even the sci-fi elements. Yeah, that's, and I think Michael has brought this up before. Like, the neon stuff really started in the 80s. Like, sci-fi, Lifeline, guys like that were bright colors. But, I get it. Like, they were trying to maintain their relevancy, I think, and they made some really odd flexes, as Aaron would say. So, Bjorn says you can make a cutter and shipwreck using some of the parts from the Marauders Vietnam Kickstarter figure. Oh, okay. Marauders, let me move on to the next package here. So, Marauders is one of those things that, like, I'm interested in buying them, but I find the website to be intimidating, if that makes sense. Like, I want to just start, like, select, like, start with basic buck, like, start with, Vietnam, or start with this, or start with that, and then add things to it. But it's like, I need to pick a head, I need to pick the hair, I need to pick this, pick that. And I'm like, I know I'm going to order one and forget something. Like, he's going to show up and be like, oh, I knew he needed arms. Like, that's what I feel like is going to happen. So, Retro Blasting, I agree. He says Scott Hughes is a great guy. I definitely agree with that statement. So, yeah, KBA, sci-fi, half man, half glow stick, all Joe. That is accurate. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, I have a feeling I know what this is. It feels like a Joe figure that was sent. So, it's worth mentioning that Scott sent that first box was from Scott himself. Some of these other things, I think most of them, and Scott, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like the rest of these are eBay purchases on his behalf. So they were sent to me via eBay. So it's, kind of explains the decline. Mother pearl. It explains kind of the decline in packaging. Here we go. All right, what do we got in here? Now we're into the mystery stuff. Hey, I love Frostbite. So this was one of my first Joes when I was a kid was Frostbite. I love this figure so damn much. Completely underappreciated. And this is why. Blam. What's not to love about a hockey mask, pretty much? Like, that's worth the price of admission by himself. It's just a hockey mask. You know, how easy it would be to make a 3 3/4 G.I. Joe Jason Voorhees with just that. Just add some extra holes, maybe a crack, put some red paint on it. But where is it? Yeah. So I don't know. He's a great figure. I've always loved Frostbite. So he had a shotgun and he had a machete for all that frozen tundra he was going to be chopping, I guess. But yeah, no, I love Frostbite. Great figure. Great figure. I don't know, like, I know, again, the 90s Joes get shit on all the time, but you know, this looks like a pretty normal design to me. I mean, other than the orange hand grenades, which in my brain, I guess you could make an argument, oh, those are flares, that's why they're orange, and that would make sense being in the snow if you get stuck or hurt or something, but I don't know, looks pretty normal to me. So he's going to hang out here on the desk with me. All right, oops. Let me put all this away so I don't lose it like I did when I was a kid. Because I was one of those kids that just could not be trusted with anything, like, at all. Like, if I opened a box or opened up a figure, by the time, like, you turned around twice and said Hail Mary, all the accessories were gone. So that was not very good. No, Scott, his thumb's fine. There's no broken thumbs. They're fine. So he's all good. All right. Oh yeah, the original Snowdrop had one of the, yeah, absolutely, that giant sniper rifle, absolutely. So okay, let's do this one. Oh, it's kind of a light box. The funny thing about this, Scott, I don't know if I told you this. When you ordered this one, I'm assuming from eBay, it came from the time capsule. So what's funny is that you used eBay to get it, but this store is only about, I don't know, probably like a 40-minute drive from me. So it's just kind of funny. So Jesse Guajardo asks, have I heard of Chicken Fried Toys? I have, actually. They, like you mentioned, they do the Western toys and all that, which I think is interesting. I mean, it's a I don't know if niche market or niche market, however people say it. I've always said niche, but everyone right here says niche. Probably a mispronunciation on my part because I clearly have a hard time with words. But it's a market that I don't see anyone else really going into. So, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chicken Fried Toys was started by one of the Boss Fight guys or former Boss Fight guys, I think. So, but I don't own anything from them or Boss Fight, so I can't speak to the quality, but yeah, Goji, it does. That's, yeah, that shouldn't be too far from your neck of the woods, I believe. I think I've been there before. I'd have to see it again and go there, but that might be where I sold Collection 2. That might be the place. I don't know. So, Bearman says, I lost a lot of accessories when I lost all of the accessories when I was a kid. All of them. Because I was terrible. So, that's why, like, when I get figures, like, people will tell you anytime they ask, like, if I'm looking for something, I send them a list. I'm like, hey, I don't care about any of the accessories except for, like, this one accessory. Like with Bullhorn, I didn't care if he came with anything else. I just wanted the rifle, like the rifle in the briefcase. With Frostbite, I was like, I don't care if he comes with anything else. I just want the hockey mask. Because I lost so many accessories as a kid that I just don't care if they come complete or not, because I don't have the emotional attachment to the accessories. Like, I had a favorite style of weapon, and it'd be like, oh, like, because it seemed like every 90s Joe came with like a shotgun, like an MP7 or an MP5, pretty much. So it's like they all used the same gun, or I'd have like one gun for all of them, and they would just take turns using it, pretty much. I'd have to fill in the gaps with my imagination. So, all right, did this not cut properly? All right, let's try that again. All right, again, no idea what's in here. Oh, my Lanta. Well, they used a poster of some sort to pack this. That's interesting. What poster did they use? Is this Beverly Hills Cop? It is Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, Jeff Hicks, don't look. Don't look, Jeff Hicks. Oh, no. All right, let me move the box real quick just to show you what happened. Jeff Hicks is gonna have a conniption. If I can find a place to put this box, they used Beverly Hills Cops posters as padding. So, oy vey. Yeah, they must not like Beverly Hills Cops. Or Beverly Hills Cops. Beverly Hills Cop. That's, oh man. We can rebuild them. We can make them stronger. But oh man, that's rough. Okay. Back to it. I'll tell Jeff not to watch that part. He loves that movie or franchise or whatever. All right. Oh, they used more of them even. Oh no. How many did they use? 3, 4? 3. Okay. Poor thing. All right. Let's see what's in here. Yeah. As I throw the box across the room. All right. So I feel like there's 2 in here. Oh, no way. No way. So I had just mentioned this on a live stream with Ryan a week ago, 2 weeks ago. This is the Secret Weapon Force Super Shooters cable Colossus. I had this figure as a kid, and I loved the ever-living crap out of it. Loved this figure. Loved it. So his wrists move, his elbows move. He has shoulder articulation and swivel in the waist, hinge in the hips, knee joints, and I think ankle joints as well. Yep, ankle joints. And I used the ever-living crap out of him. I love this figure. I know he's on the card. He's not staying on the card. He's coming off. So I know this line is silly. It's weird, but I love this line. I really do. Who did I have? No, I didn't have that Apocalypse. I had a different one. I had Colossus and I had this Beast down here in the corner. Another great figure. Great figure. So they're almost Marvel Legends before Marvel Legends were a thing with their articulation and their movement. Yeah, it was a weird gimmick with the weapons and the ballistics and stuff, but whatever. You could just nix that out of the package and buy him. He's a great figure, especially for 90s. So he's going to hang out up here with Frostbite. That's exactly it. Gojatron remembers it was Colossus and Beast versus Stegron and Shadow Dancer. That is absolutely 100% accurate. So how I played. So the way I played, Destro would become him. That was like the whole thing. So I mixed and matched a lot of toys. I had to use my imagination because I didn't have a frame of reference, I guess, for the lack of a better word. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. So I didn't have like a frame of reference for things, so I'd mix and match a lot. Like, here we go. I'll just grab this guy here because he happens to be handy. Like Rhinox from Beast Wars. Like in my brain, I'd be like, okay, that's, I don't know. I'd never seen a rhino in person. I'm like, I guess that's a accurate height difference. But whoever I deemed to be the bad guys, in GI Joe, because there's always around GI Joe. That's always what my play scenarios were featured around or based around. Like, okay, well, the bad guys using what is it called, the Battle of Nevero or Tower of Nevero, or it's an old Mark's toy place that I had the Black Mountain Castle thing. That was like where the bad guys hung out. They would capture animals, or they'd like steal them from a zoo or whatever, and the mad scientist would turn them into robots, and then they'd like release them back into the wild, or they'd release them back into the zoo. They'd do whatever, and the good guys would have to show up and try to wrangle them or whatever, and then the robots would get into the good guys hideout, and they transform into robots and start shooting their computers and shooting their guys and all that kind of stuff. It was like very involved. But all that to say is that Stegron and Shadow Dancer were always bad guys, and Colossus and Beast were always good guys, because I knew enough about X-Men to know that Colossus and Beast were good guys. I didn't know Stegron and Shadow Dancer really. I had the toys, but didn't know who they were. And so it was like kind of a mutation. I don't know, X-Men mutants, real original Sal. I get it. But like they would kind of like mutate. Like the bad guys would get like Stegron or something and be like, oh, we need a lackey to get, I don't know, infused with dino DNA, and that's how he would turn into Stegron. And then the Joes would be like, oh no, like how are we gonna fight this new evil? And then they would just kind of go back and forth and all that. And I didn't know really that Destro was a bad guy, because there's nothing on him to indicate that he's part of Cobra. So, I took the chrome head and ran with it, and he'd become Colossus. So, and they'd all fight and all that. So, I know no one came here to listen to me ramble about my playtime memories, but I had a lot of fun. So, that's how I played with those anyway. Let's see. The old vintage Toy Store had a bunch of these figures. Yeah, they're great. Like, no one really gives them a chance. Like, I get it. The old Toy Biz stuff, is like, I get technically now it's vintage because that's how years work. But like some of the stuff's like they're really great toys, and no one gives them a chance just because they, uh, understandably were after their time, or they weren't collecting this, that, and the other at that point, which is it's understandable. You're into what you're into when you're into it, like. But something Navarone. That's the word. Navarone. Sorry, I was saying Navarro. I think I was doing a portmanteau of Navarone and Navajo, probably, but Navarone. That's what it's called. Masterson says, "Stop mixing and matching toy lines. It's blasphemy." Believe it or not, for a long time I didn't do that. I wouldn't mix them, because in my head, like the age old argument, like who would win in a fight between Darth Vader and Superman? Like, I couldn't do that argument in my head, so I just never put the two together, kind of thing. Like, I just couldn't do it. Now, scale, I've talked about this with Matt Swafford and a number of people. Scale was super important. Like, I couldn't suspend my disbelief past a certain point. Like, it was really hard for Batman to play with G.I. Joe, because Batman was just a regular dude. But if they were a robot or looked somewhat like a monster anyway, it was a lot easier for me to suspend my disbelief and be like, oh, big scary monster, big strong guy. Like, it's a lot easier for me to just kind of move past that little hang up. So, really, Colossus was a bad guy at one point when his sister was killed by the legacy virus. Is that Magic that was killed? I don't know what storyline that would be. Let's see, legacy virus. That wouldn't be legacy. Was that? No, I'm thinking. I'm hung up on techno organic virus. You'll have to let me know what storyline that was, or what timeline that was. So let's see. That's true. The way, well, I mean, I see it now as an adult, but as a kid, I was an idiot. I mean, not much has really changed that much. So, but no, I'd never put two and two together on that as a kid. So, Let's see. Bjorn Jorgensen says, I'd always mix the lines. Cobra and Empire were always allies against the Joe's Rebellion. I mean, that makes sense. They're the same scale and all that. So I can see that those two going together. Okay. KBA says, yes, that was match about mid-90s. Okay, just before Age of Apocalypse. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because it's God. Colossus, Magic, and they have a third brother that I can't think of the freaking name of. They keep wanting to say Vulcan, but I'm not sure that's correct. I think Vulcan is it Vulcan? Maybe. I think Vulcan might be part of the Summers family, though. I might be mixing up my families here. But someone will have to let me know. Scott Hughes says, Destro was always my favorite Joe. Cobra, ironically, I'm now actually a weapons supplier. Hey, there's a lot to love about Destro. For those that know me, know that Destro is my favorite bad guy out of G.I. Joe. Some days my favorite G.I. Joe, but he's at least at a rotating top three or four. Mikhail Rasputin. Okay, gotcha. Mikhail, that's right. Now I know he's a bad guy. I think. I don't know. That stuff changes a lot. I can't think of his. Is it Gabriel Summers? Okay, that's where I'm. Okay, see, I'm mixing up my families. Gotcha. Okay, so that's that one. We got two more, I think. Let's see. We did 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay, so we got two more. I have to make some room here, but you can still hang out. It's okay, I promise. You'll just hang out like that. Frostbite. I'll put Destro back. He hangs out at my desk with me, or hangs out with me at my desk, or however that sentence is phrased. I don't know. English is only my first language. I should probably know these things, right? Oh goodness. Yes, that is 100% true. Hutfuse says, I'm jealous of Destro. He had Baroness. That is 100% accurate. 100%. So, Druji says, you need a Destro mask so you can be on screen. Well, believe it or not, I've actually done some thinking about that. I have a couple theories on how to pull it off. It won't look good, but it would be doable, I should say. For now, if I have to appear on camera, I use my Casey Jones mask. That's usually what I use. I'm still sad the utterly ridiculous Adam X, the Extreme, didn't turn out to be the third Summers brother. Yeah. But I mean, we got Havoc, right? And Scott and Vulcan, and I don't know. The Summers family's a muddled mess. So there's Cable, and then there's X-Man, and it's the same person. And just like Madeline Pryor and Jean Grey are the same person. And it's like Game of Thrones confusing. So okay, let's do this in right here. Actually, no, I'm gonna do this one. I think this is the one I want to do. As I make more of a mess around my workstation, it'll be okay. I promise. I'll just put those there because it is getting increasingly crowded over here. Because I have an extremely bad habit of filming something and then not putting it back. I just kind of set it on the floor or set it around my desk, and then I'm like, oh, I'll put it back later, and then I don't. So 0 out of 10 would not recommend doing that. So it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, but that's the power of crippling depression. So, all right, second to last one. Come on, there we go. Oh, there's a card in here. Good thing it didn't fall out. What does it say? All right, it says Merry Christmas from Scott Hughes. via the eBay seller. All right. So lots of newspaper. Do they even still print newspapers anymore? I mean, I guess they have to. There's evidence of it right here in the box. No way. No freaking way. We spoke him into existence. The Shadow Dancer. No way. On a pristine card, too. This thing is almost immaculate, but this figure, I'm telling you, underrated. Not great on the articulation, I'll tell you that. He has no articulation in the legs other than they move forward. His tail spins. His arms rotate, and he has single joint in the elbows. So not great on articulation, I'll tell you that. But his hands were molded almost perfectly to hold G.I. Joes. Almost perfectly. This is the X-Men 2099 line. So I had Halloween Jack. I had Magneto. I think... Did I have Gambit? If I didn't, the neighbor kid had Gambit. I remember playing with him a lot. And Shadow Dancer. So I didn't have a whole lot of 2099. But this one was really cool. Halloween Jack, he came with like werewolf like overlay stuff. Like he had a mask, werewolf mask thing that went over his head, and then he had like werewolf claws that went over the backs of his hands, plus a bunch of like stuff that is attached to him. I don't know how else to describe it, but he was a great figure too. He had great articulation, especially for the 90s. I love this figure. Like I have a lot of really great memories. Also, there's a dial on his back that if you twist it, he chomps. So, unbelievable. What are the freaking odds of that? Unbelievable. Rebelwick says, random comment, used to have a beta fish named Destro. Well, that's cool. Was he violent? Did he fight a lot? Let's see. The Gaming Toy Boy says Action Force Jackal, of course. Yeah, true. That's I had that conversation with Tony. We did a live stream during Iconicon called "The Military Influence Over Toys and Toy Collecting," and it was a great stream. It had myself, Tony, and Bobby. So we had some pretty valid experiences and opinions on that, considering the three of ours backgrounds. But I had a discussion with him regarding if Jackal was a unique character or is it a Destro variant? You know what I mean? Because it's the same person, like figure-wise, with a different paint application on the chest, but it's a different character in Action Force. So we were kind of discussing, variant versus unique character, like what's the difference kind of thing. So, yeah. Scott says, say open the, if, we have one box left and we're at 48 minutes, so there's a good chance I'll probably open these up. I don't know if I'll play with them. I mean, I know I will, but I don't know if I'll do it on camera. But let's see. He says, just to be clear, that's a tail. That's true. That's true. Jessica Arno says, I wish someone would make 3 3/4 Resident Evil toys. Do I have? I have Leon Kennedy in my liquor somewhere. Back who made those? Was it Bandai? Was it Bandai that made those? No, there was a series of Resident Evil toys. I want to say it was either Bandai or who was that? It wasn't Toy Biz. I don't think. Could have been, but oh god, I don't remember. But I had, well, you know what? William's here somewhere. Here he is. Maybe you can tell me on the bottom of your foot who made you. Oh, it was Toy Biz. Oh, Capcom Toy Biz. Okay, that's who made him. So he's missing his head and all that. But I used him a lot too. Had these big arms that could just knock out swaths of G.I. Joes, and if the O-ring was loose enough, I could fit these claws between their waist and their torso, so he'd like impale them. So he got used a lot in conjunction with these guys, but the difficult thing was clearly keeping the head on there. So, yeah, because these arms, the back arms, when you move, it adjusts the head because there were two different styles of heads. There was like a normal one that hung out, and there was like one that shot out this way with a bunch of teeth that came out from the bottom, and you had to use the arms like that and kind of accommodate for it. So the head would fall off a lot. So I would just use that one. That was his face. That was his weak point. Not knowing that in the video game it's the eyes that are the weak point. But I got this at, I want to say Big Lots. Big Lots or KB Toys. I don't remember. One of those two. I'm pretty sure it was KB Toys. Maybe, I don't know. One of the two. But I got the, William Tyrant. What's his name? Mr. X or something like that. The guy in the trench coat. Leon Kennedy, who came with a liquor, and Hunk, who came with a zombie. They're not quite 3 3/4. I believe they're the 5-inch scale potentially, but I mean that's kind of the closest that they have at the moment. I would like to see a 3 3/4 Resident Evil line if they're done with good articulation and all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, this is the closest you're gonna get, and these are expensive as shit right now. Like I looked into buying a new Mr. X, the dude was like $80 loose, and I'm like, yeah, I don't miss it that much. So let's see here. Drew G said, I had Web of Spider-Man mail subscription every month in the 90s, and when the line ended, they didn't stop. They just sent me 20. Oh, okay. Interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad that they just were like, just assumed that you were going to be good with, continuing the subscription, but I guess rather than, I don't know. Could be good or bad. It's interesting. It's a cool story either way. So, Hut for You says, rip KB Toys. Exactly. So, I remember KB very well. The thing I remember the most about KB Toys, though, are the peg warmers. That's the thing I remember the most. Like, I remember seeing Leader on the 90s Hulk cards. I remember seeing Leader a lot. I remember seeing, like, Witchblade and those kind of toys a lot. And like every once in a while I'd find the cool stuff, like the Resident Evil stuff I got on clearance. So, but okay, so last one right here. So let's go ahead and cut it because the address is positioned in such a way that it's going to be difficult for me to kind of hide it, I guess. So there's that. All right. Let me move Shadow Dancer over here. Okay. And I'll just do this. All right. Here we go. It says, Merry Christmas from Scott Hughes. Oh, is this who I think it is? Oh, no way. No freaking way. So I haven't mentioned this guy yet. I mean, I technically did, but X-Man from the Wanted line. How freaking cool. So, this figure I had as a kid, and I didn't know that he and Cable were technically the same person, had no idea. And I didn't know that this was like psychic energy, I just thought it was fire. So, but it's got this little thing here pegs into that, so it's like a stand to make him float. This one, which it appeared in a video, this kind of off tendril plugs in, but this one plugs into the back of his hand, so it like clips onto the back, and that was so cool. He moved great. He had ankle articulation, knees, hips, waist, shoulders are spun and hinged out, and single joint in the elbow. I don't think his wrists moved. I don't think. But I remember being able to take off his jacket, and that was like mind blowing to me. I was like, holy crap, like it's a soft plastic and I could just take it off if I wanted to. Like, I know that sounds really dumb, really silly, but I thought it was great. I was like, oh my God, I can take this off. So, yeah. Let's see. Really? Is it Brian says KB got a shout out in the Hawkeye series. Bad guys used a former KBs as a hideout. Interesting. Interesting. So, oh yeah, the clearance baskets. Yeah, I remember those. Says Rebelwick says rip not only KB but malls and retail in general. You're not wrong, sir. I went grocery shopping this morning because I couldn't sleep, which sounds weird to say that. Um, Again, I'm on night shift, so like my 10 a.m. is like 10 p.m. My noon is my midnight, and it was like 11 something, and I couldn't sleep at all. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go. I was gonna go grocery shopping before when I woke up, and I was like, you know what? I'll just go now. Screw it. So I went, and I was looking for the Black Series because I've seen that the new Black Series waves are showing up in California, of course, because it hits the West Coast and slowly makes its way to the East Coast, and then usually all the product runs dry about halfway through. And they still had the same two grief cargas that have been sitting on that peg for months, almost a full calendar year at this point. They've been there this whole time and they're not moving. Other than that, all they have is Baby Yoda plushies, the kind of generic beat 'em up lightsabers, and some vintage collection, I think. But and not even like enough vintage collection to be worth a damn. Just some vintage collection. They're getting. If you want Marvel Legends, let me know. They have a shit ton of those. As long as you're okay with the Eternals, because they have like 8 of each Eternals figure. Hasbro drastically overestimated that movie, drastically. So I found the second AOA wave once minus Sabretooth, so I was able to order him from Hasbro Pulse, but beyond that, it's all Eternals all the time. And if you're looking for G.I. Joe Classified, I hope you like Snake Eyes, because that's all they got. So, Rebel Wookie says, I'm not familiar with anything on screen now. I'm old. Well, that's I don't know how to say it. Like, I guess that's just part of it. Like, I'm one of the younger people in our community, if not the youngest one in our community. I don't no Matt movie 611 is younger than I am. But I'm one of the younger people in our community. But I grew up with an older brother who was born in the very early 80s. So I have that kind of crossover generational thing where I'm like, I grew up with 80s properties and enjoyed 90s properties as they were happening. But yeah, I had all these as a kid and I love all three of them. So let's see. For 90s action figure removable jacket is pretty impressive. Yeah, it is. I think so. So Scott Hughes, he says, you knew that you were walking up to KB when you could hear the bark. Yep. Zzz, 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 arf, 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 zzz, zzz. Like, yeah. Or the what? They look like sea mines. The balls with the rubber things on them just go, and they just like vibrate on the ground. Looking back on them now, I'm like, why would someone buy that for their child? But as a kid, I don't know. Maybe, some things I don't know how you were supposed to play with them. But they'd always have that, or they'd have like the little RC cars that just go like they'd just shoot around a track and they'd stop, and they'd shoot around the track again, and then they'd stop. But yeah, and I don't know. You people have to let me know. I've been to 3 KB Toys in my life before they went out of business, and it seemed like all 3 of them were either directly next to or adjacent from the food court. So I don't know if that was everyone else's experience, but I feel like, at least trying to put myself in I guess, their shoes, that would make sense, because if the kids are sitting down to eat lunch because like, oh, there's a Burger King in the food court, or there's a hot dog on a stick in the food court, or there's an Annie Ann's or whatever, they would hear the dogs or they'd hear the toys and they'd look over and there'd be all the bright shiny colors and they'd be, oh, I want to go look, I want to go look, I want to go look, and then your parents would have to hear that the whole time you're sitting and not eating your food, and eventually the parents would be like, listen, we can go look if you eat your food. Like, I don't know. Gojatron says, these guys are the missing link between early 90s Toy Biz figures and Marvel Legends. Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. They are the missing link between, like, the Wolverine with the pop claws and the sword and the ring mask, and like the Cyclops with the X Factor Cyclops with the White X or whatever. You see these, then you see Marvel Legends. You can see where the articulation was going, where the scale was going, the sculpt, and all that kind of stuff. Minus the gimmicky things, but especially him, like articulation and a stand and all that kind of stuff. Like that's starting to. I think if I'm reading this correctly, it says you can't see it. Let me bring it down here. It says 0299. So I'm assuming this was February 1999. I'm assuming. Let me see if I can find a date on the back of this thing. 1998. So copyright 1998, which means it came out in 99. Spat and Grovel. I totally forgot about Spat and Grovel. I had this set. I threw the little girl away. I wanted that demon dog thing. That thing was cool. I totally forgot I had that set. Holy shit. Holy crap. All right. Sorry. Had a memory flashback there for a second. So. All right. Let me make sure there's nothing else in there. Okay. Sweet. All right. Let's bring up all the stuff here. That way we can admire it. Well, you're upside down. That's fine. Whatever. Move you there. What else? Here we go. DF. Let go of it. I just had to set it down on the tape, didn't I? There we go. All right. There's that. I think this is everything. Well, most everything anyway. So, all right. A little behind the scenes magic, how I try to set up things for thumbnails and end shots and all that. So, all right, there's that. Put you there. Put you here. And I don't think that's going to work. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see. Pupfew says, you just described my Walmart and Target near me, so so happy I collect mostly 70s and 80s. Yeah, it's gotten bad. It's gotten really bad. Like, it's to the point now where I pretty much exclusively pre-order online. I don't even bother hunting for things in the store, really. Like, I'll still go look and see if anything catches my eye, but by and large, like, I pre-order online and I just wait for my pre-orders to come in. Like, it is not even worth it anymore to try and hunt these things down. So, Jesse says, currently I'm collecting the Mattel Jurassic World toys. Oh, okay, cool. I think I have a couple of those. Anything? Well, he's not within reach. I think I have a, what is it? Pentaceratops, I think is what it's called. I have a couple of those. I like dinosaurs a lot. I still have my Bull Rex from when I was a kid. He's up on a bookshelf. So, Kieran says the Eternals and Shang-Chi are Marvel Legends. Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's pretty bad. I went through where was I? I was at Walmart or Target recently, and they had a bunch of Eternals, and they were on clearance for like $14 a piece. And I was like, I almost bought them just to have them, but I was like, you know what? No, I first, I don't really collect the MCU stuff, not anymore anyway. MCU for me is over and done with. I am going to go see Spider-Man. I already bought my ticket. Yes, I'm that guy, but I'm very excited for Spider-Man. But that'll be the first thing from the MCU I've seen since Far From Home. I haven't seen any of the Disney Plus stuff at all. I haven't seen any of the stuff that's come out in theaters. I'm just not interested anymore. It's all done. KBA says, I've yet to see. Really? I'm telling my Walmart, they're like 8 deep per figure. Like, they are everywhere. Everywhere. The only one I haven't seen very much of is the fucking Spawn knockoff. I don't remember what it's called. And I have a feeling that he predates Spawn significantly, but you know what I mean. He's got the, I don't know, he looks like, not Spawn, Venom. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Spawn. Venom, because he's got all the spindly things on him as the bad guy, I guess. I haven't seen him, I don't think, or I might have seen him once, but yeah, everyone else is like, there's a ton. So, Gaming Torba says, I'm 80s with a bit of early 90s. Right on. Oh, Jesse says, born in the 90s but grew up to love the. Yeah, exactly. I was born in the very late 80s. Like, just barely qualify to say that I was born in the 80s. That's like when someone's born in like 98 or 99, they're like, I'm a 90s kid. I'm like, no, you're not. You were born in the 90s, but you're an aughts kid. Just like I was born in the 80s, but I'm a 90s kid because that's the decade I remember being a kid in. By the time I hit the aughts, I was a teenager, pretty much approaching teen. I was 11 going on 12 when I hit the aughts. So, I mean, by my looking back, I'm like, yeah, it's still a kid, but at that age, you're like, I'm not a kid anymore, mom. So, Scott Hughes says, we have a very popular and very large model. However, it's completely vacant of anything interesting. Clothes, shoes, jewelry. They even remove. Really? Oh, well, yeah. Did Sears go out of business? I think they did. Or is that J.C. Penney? Whoever got in bed with Kmart, one of them's gone, I'm pretty sure. But Tolman says, I'm collecting Motu Origins. I've only found He-Man and Skull. Yeah, good luck, dude. So far, knock on wood, I've been lucky to get everything, all the retail releases so far. I have the new wave, the Naked Stratos is what I'm calling him because that's what he looks like. The Naked Stratos and Jitsu, all this. I have them on pre-order. They'll get here when they get here because it's big bad. But I've had to resort to Amazon a couple of times and pay an aftermarket price because the states, more or less, like with few exception, more or less did not get Wave 2 at all. Like we didn't get Scare Glow and all those on pegs. Like they just never showed up. And we were slaying with Wave 1 for like a year because Walmart had an exclusive deal with them. But yeah, it's pretty much only He-Man and Skeletor whenever I look. And even not them really much anymore because they cleared them out. The only thing I see now occasionally is like a flocked panther, maybe, or I see a lot of the Motu. Was it Motu Revelations? That's what it's called. The Kevin Smith shit. I see those figures a lot, and I see the new cartoony one where they're like super Hulk buff and weird looking. You know, not my bag. If you like it, I'm happy for you. You got something you can go buy, but not for me. Well, Will McLaughlin says, former KB Toys employee here, worked my way from seasonal stock to store. Wow. No kidding. That's awesome. Holy crap. I loved KB Toys. It was, I don't know. I really loved it there. I liked, so I was cursed yet lucky. When I was a kid, I got a Nintendo 64 much later than everybody else. Like I got mine in the next year the GameCube came out, and that lets you know how far behind I was. But by that point, like all the games were cheap. It was like $20 for a game or whatever. So I was like, heck yes. Let me get all these games for $20. Of course, I was the butt of everybody's joke because I was the poor kid that couldn't afford a GameCube, but whatever the fuck. First world problems, am I right? And I remember Conker's Bad Fur Day. Just tons of copies of Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't know, maybe it was my area. It wasn't very popular. It's my understanding that it's like a cult game now. Like everyone loves that game or something. But I just remember copy after copy after copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day hanging out behind that counter. They tried to clearance them out so bad. Really? And Rebel says KB was nowhere near the food court in his experience. Okay, interesting. Where Scott says ours was directly underneath the food court on the lower level. So not too far off. Let's see. He says, "Dude, Blink on the back. She's one of my favorite." Yeah, that Blink. That's Oh no, I'm thinking of Shard. Never mind. I was about to say, yeah, Blink. That's Bishop's sister, right? No, that's Shard. That's someone else. You dumbass. Anyway, yeah, Blink. I don't. I really like how they did her in Days of Future Past. Like, yeah, she wasn't pink or anything, or purple or mauve or whatever color you want to call that, but I thought they did her really well once I found out that she was Blink, because I was like, who the hell is this? Like, she wasn't immediately recognizable to me, but now that I know who, I'm like, okay, it's an interesting way that they did it. But yeah, the whole throwing shards to teleport and stuff, it's a very interesting power, but useful. So, let's see. Rebel Wiki says, anyone remember when malls were awesome as the one in the original Dawn of the Dead? Yeah. Gototron. I mixed Grovel and Shadow Dancer in with my Trend Masters Godzilla figures as super. Oh, interesting. I mean, that would work. They're about the right scale, I think. So, hell yeah. Grovel definitely could be a kaiju, I think. He looks like one. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up here. Yeah, Robo says someone who grew up rural. Malls were. Yeah, exactly. You didn't like that. That was a place you went. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the mall, and then we're gonna go here. We're gonna. It's like, oh, we're going to the mall. Let me put on some pants, kind of thing. Like wasn't like Walmart where you could show up in your pajamas or whatever you were wearing to work that day. But yeah, yeah, that was if we went to the mall, it was an all day affair. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go in there and pop into I don't know, like I don't know, some store or whatever. I couldn't think of one because it's been that while. It's been that long. But you would go there and you'd spend all day. Like you would go to every single store, even if it wasn't one you had an interest in, just to justify the trip. So let's see. Will says around the same time as these Marvel figures, there was a box line called Savage Land. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. Oh God, Savage. Yeah, Angel. He wasn't too dissimilar from that shape, but he was like basically naked with a loincloth with long blonde hair, and I think he had like pterodactyl claws on the back of his arms for weapons and these big long wings. I do remember that. I remember that, and that's who else was there? There was someone else in that line that I got. I can't think of his name. Oh fuck. Was Sauron part of that wave? Was there Sauron in that line? I think there was. All right, I'd have to look it up, but yeah, I had that angel figure. I loved that guy. I think he had bendy wire in his wings. I think. I might be mixing him. I might be mixing the bendy wire up with a different angel figure, but I think he did. So, all right. Kieran says, time to get some sleep. Great live stream style. Nice contribution from Scott Hughes. Fun chat. Absolutely. You have a good night, Kieran. We'll see you on the next one, buddy. KBA says, my Walmart said mostly stop. Really? Oh, that's what I thought too. Like, I didn't see any Marvel Legends for a hot minute. And then Shang-Chi showed up, and then those disappeared. And then I didn't see anything for weeks, maybe even a month, and then all of a sudden, Eternals just blap, just showed up and everywhere. Crow, that's it. Okay, Crow. Gotcha. Yeah, he looks like a weird kind of Venom thing to me. The movie figure does. Scott says in the 80s we had 7 minutes within 20-minute drive. Every mall had KB, Record Bar, Camelot Music, Playland. I remember Walden Books, Radio Shack, Aladdin's Castle. Now one mall void of fun. Yeah. Sam Goodies. That's the one I was trying to think of. Sam Goodies. I could picture the logo in my head, but I couldn't think of the freaking name. Sam Goodies. No, we only had the one. We had the one mall, but we had my grandma lived. So there was like a really quote unquote big mall, which is like a standard mall by most standards nowadays. Like the mall I grew up with was one floor. There was no upper floor. It was one floor, and it's about the length of a football field. Like it's not very big. But I mean, they've built additions onto it since then. Like the food court got built on sometime. Well, I wouldn't say got built on; it got expanded because the movie theater wasn't connected. Then they basically built a glorified hallway to connect the movie theater to the mall, and then they added the second half of the food court. So it was like the mall is basically a long rectangle, and it went boop, had a little dog leg for the food court. Then they connected it to the movie theater, which was on the outside, and they built a second half right in there and basically make it a corridor of food, so that way you can understand what the hell I'm talking about instead of anyway. But it was the state capital, and my grandma lived like 45 minutes away from there, but she lived about an hour and 15 from us. So we'd go down and visit my grandma, and then grandma would take us to that mall. And that was, 3 stories. Oh my God, such a big mall. So, but yeah. Okay, Sears is gone. Sears, okay. Man, I'm really far behind. Good Lord. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just scrolling down to the bottom. Sorry, everyone. I didn't realize I was that far behind. Jeez, okay. But, oh, goodness gracious. Robo says, I had one mall about 20 miles away, but another about 35 miles. So that one had a children's place, later Toys R Us. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, our mall. Do I have a pen nearby? I don't think I do. This will work. It's close enough. Come here, you. So if our mall is like that, with the movie theater back here now attached, it's like big open parking lot. And now Walmart is right there. And then our Toys R Us was right on the other side of the parking lot, which is now a Chinese food restaurant. So, or it has, well, no, they split it. No, what did they do? No, there's definitely a Chinese food restaurant. I've eaten there 100 times, but that was there when Toys R Us was there. Because I'd go to Toys R Us, then go to Chinese food. So it must have been like an addition later or something. But yeah, and then they built on and went that way, and they added like a Borders Books over here and some electronic store that was around for a year before they went out of business. But yeah, basically things just started cropping up around the mall, and then it became like a whole thing. So the thing that never made sense to me is we have a Burger King inside our food court, and then outside past the Chinese food restaurant is another Burger King. I'm like, you guys really thought this through. Oh, wow. Will says that he worked 18 different KB stores. Some malls had... Wow. Huh. I wish I had 2 KB stores. Oh, Chattanooga. Okay. I think my first mall that I remember was in Chattanooga, where I saw and bought Virtual G.I. Joe figure. Excuse me. Oh, you met Spider-Man? Lucky. I wish I could have met Spider-Man. So, I can't be the only one that did this, but I saw the Ninja Turtle movie as a kid, and I knew they lived in the sewer. I cannot be the only one who knocked on manhole covers and tried to open them up so I could talk and meet the Ninja Turtles. I can't be the only one that did that. But I did that. So Jeff McElwee says, I have 3 local toy stores in my area, paying an extra $5. Sony so I don't have to spend hours driving to different stores. I'm okay with it. Jeff, if I had to guess, I would say Toy Base 10, vintage stock, and another vintage stock, maybe, if I had to take a guess. Let's see. Amy says the children's palace they built next to it is now the... Oh, man. Talk about just where fun goes to die. Trudy says, that's a risk, though. What if a clown answered? Well, I guess I'd have a balloon. Scott Hughes says, does anyone remember a store called Ton of Toys? It was the same size as Toys R Us and eventually became... No, I'm sorry. I don't remember that. most of my Toys R Us memories were, we can look, but we're not gonna buy anything. Oh, Amazing Action Comics! I forgot all about him. Gotcha. Cosmic. I've never heard of Amazing Action and Toys and Comic. I've never heard of them. I know Amazing Action Comics. That's Jason that runs that, I think. But yeah, vintage stock is very hit and miss. Sometimes they had good stuff, sometimes they didn't. But I just kind of like I got some good stuff from vintage stock every once in a while, but you never knew if something unless you knew what it was supposed to have. You never knew if a used figure was complete. They got a lot of like knockoff stuff in there. Not that I'm, Lord knows I'm not opposed to knockoff stuff. I'm opposed to paying legit prices for knockoff stuff. That's what I'm opposed to, which I think is reasonable. But they were all right. So I miss Plastic Galaxy. That's what I miss. But he's moved on to Chicago now. He closed down his store in 2019, I think it is, and he moved purely online. So I tell you, Jason at Amazing Action Comics used to be a great place to go when he first opened up, started selling toys, because it was just comics for a while. You could get great deals, like extremely fair prices, and then he started really overcharging for a lot of stuff. Last I was in there, but if you go back in there, say hi to Tank for me. Let's see. Yeah, that Cutter is wild. That's the Cutter version 2 of the DEF, Drug Elimination Force. So, let's see. Will McLaughlin says, yes, we did. We went into a giant storm drain with flashlights looking for a turtle lair. My buddy wanted to spray paint a meth. Nice. Hell yeah. That's the kind of story I would love to like hear more of. Like, what was the follow-on to that? Like, how did he explain to his parents why he had spray paint all over his face, and how did he get it off? That's the thing. Rebel Wookie says vintage stock was very good to me in the early 2000s. Very hit and miss depending on who. Yeah. They're nice people. I remember what do they call it? Triple Force Friday or whatever, when the Mandalorian Black Series stuff first came out. They had it out on the peg like 3 or 4 days early, and I was like, I don't think that. And I grabbed the Mandalorian. I was like, I don't think this is supposed to be on the peg yet. And he was like, oh, let me ring it up and see. And I was like, he's like, if it rings up, you can have it. And I'm like, awesome. Well, it rang up as no sale till whatever. He's like, oh, you want me to hold it for you? And I was like, no, because I was like, I work on Friday. I won't get out of work. I got to be at work at like 5 a.m. I won't get out till like 6 p.m. Like, it's not fair to people who are here to get it. Like, no, you don't have to hold it for me. So depending on who you knew, vintage stock was really good. So Jeff Mackley says, I buy my Star Trek carded figures from it. Yeah, they always have the Playmates Star Trek stuff. That and the last time I was there, because they're everywhere in that area. Like, they all had like the wall of Funko Pops, and my favorite was what I called the Lucy section, where you'd find them in the baggies, like the little baggies that were hanging on the pegs. I always dug through every single peg looking for stuff, because I'd find GI Joes in there. I'd find all sorts of stuff. I was. I'm no longer there, but I was. That's where I was at for a while. Let's see. DEF was a good idea for GI Joe spinoff. Going into space with giant robots fighting aliens, not so much. Yeah. DEF kind of makes sense. I think it's Bobby Vallis says once you go to space, you can't come back. Kind of thing, like, where do you go from there? I liked some of the aliens. Like, I think Predacon looks pretty cool, the 4 arms and all that, but I don't know. I think that they were trying to keep up with the DARE programs and the war on drugs and all that kind of stuff. It says, makes sense. Glad you. Well, I didn't have a choice. That's how my job works. They're like, all right, time for you to leave. Oh, okay. And then you go to the next place they tell you have to go to. White Mike Vegeta. For those that follow me on Instagram, he's the one that made these awesome little weapons crates here with the ropes and some pins and all that. This stuff is great. He also, which I happen to have here, made this. So these are little inserts that fit into Destro's little briefcase. So you can be like, oh, money for this, or, you know, like, oh, these are a toxin that'll be activated by this computer. Use your imagination, man. So I like that there's two of them. So that way, if I end up ever getting the Pimp Daddy Destro, I have one for each briefcase. But that's just really cool. That's I like little creative things like that. So he made those for me, and I very much appreciate them. So let's see. Drew G asks, did you have fun at Valverse headquarters? Going to watch that stream later tonight. I always have fun at Valverse. I see Bobby on average probably once a week, once every 2 weeks maybe. Yeah, we always have a fun time there. I'm always trying to help him film. I'm trying to get better at my camera work. It's very shaky, admittedly, because I use a glorified tripod when I record, so I don't hold a camera. Plus, if you watch, like I should, I can't make myself do it, but I do shake a little bit. So I'm trying to get better at that. But no, I always have fun with there. It's always a hoot hanging out with Bobby. So you get to meet the dogs and all that kind of stuff. It's a good time. So San Antonio, I haven't been there in a while. Says I miss going to San Antonio's flea market, especially since there are some people who sell and trade vintage toys. Yeah, I didn't spend very much time in San Antonio, but I did enjoy my time there. I'm very much a normie when I say that I like the Riverwalk a lot, which is like, oh, that's where all the tourists go. It's dumb. It's whatever. But I'd go get a cut. I was there in the wintertime. So not super cold compared to where I am now, but cold to me then. And I would go, get a coffee, and I'd walk down the river and say hi to the ducks and things like that. And it was just, I don't know, it was nice to be by myself, I guess, for a little bit. Yeah, the DF Shockwave is nice too. I like my 87 Defiant, man. Space. So speaking of amazing action, he had a Defiant for like $200. I didn't buy it, and I kick myself for it because I didn't. There was no way for me to have a cataloged memory of all the parts that were missing or the parts that it was going to need. So I was just like, "Oh, this is cool, sweet," but I was like, "Oh, I don't know how much it's going to cost me to complete it." Yada yada yada. So I didn't buy it like a dome. But that thing is huge, absolutely huge. So. Yeah, Will says that video was awesome. Made me remember how delicious those damn turtle pies were. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that video. Had a lot of fun with it. So because we hang out and we'll just be having conversations like that already, and it's like, why don't we just film this stuff? Like, it makes sense to me. Let's see. He had a Boulder Hill. I didn't know that. So that's when I first started going to Amazing Action, because Seth is the one that told me about Jason. He had a bunch of like this kind of stuff just hanging on the pegs, like Toy Biz, Spider-Man, and stuff. And I was like, awesome. So I was like buying them up for like $5 a piece because that's pretty much what they were worth. And then out of nowhere, I was like, oh, because when I went through, he never put prices on anything. He would tell you how much something was, but he never put a price on anything, not a sticker anyway. And then I went back, like, as you do, you don't always go back to the same place, frequently, because believe it or not, in that area, there's like a ton of options. Like, you're swimming in a sea of toys there. And then if you drive like an hour to Lawton or whatever, there's Chucky's Toys. Or if you drive, was it like an hour and a half using the turnpike to Tulsa, there's Broken Arrow. There's like the Broken Arrow flea market or whatever, or vintage toy or antique toy. I don't know what it is. You can find it on Google, but they charge expensive prices for stuff. That was kind of a wasted trip. But I went back, and then it was like $25 for like Toy Biz Spider-Man. So I'm like, why is this stuff so expensive? And he's like, oh, well, that's the price they're going for now. And I was like, no, they're not. They're on eBay for like $7 plus shipping. He's like, well, I think that he had someone blowing smoke up his butt and made him change all his prices, so I stopped going to him. But KBS says I kept wondering how hard it would be to upscale Boulder Hill to 3.5 and use it, or 3.75 and use it as a secret GI Joe base. What scale is Mask? 2-inch? Is that what Mask is? 2-inch scale? I mean, from my I don't have a Boulder Hill, but from my understanding, it takes up a huge footprint. So you might be talking like Terradrome plus headquarters size potentially. Let's see. Jeff says he's got that still bit, but the other side. Oh, he has other vendor. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I remember Toy Base 10. I remember Steve very well. He plays the sweet old man card, like, oh, how you doing? But he's very cutthroat in his business dealings. Extremely cutthroat. So he's one of those guys that just switched to toys when it was convenient for him, because he was selling car stereos at a flea market for a long time, and then saw the the emerging toy market, decided to jump in on that real fast, and he's like, oh, I've got 10 Conex boxes full of stuff, and I'm like, well, you're not long for this world, Steve. Based on your age and overall health, you might want to start selling that stuff off. But yeah, for him, it's like it gets pretty bad pretty fast. So I stopped going to him because it wasn't mutually beneficial. It wasn't like, you have an item I would like to buy. This is a fair price for this item. It'd be like, no, well, like he'd act like he doesn't know. And he'd be like, oh, well, this Frostbite is going for $8 on eBay. He'd be like, no, it's going for 15. Like, I thought you didn't know. Like, I literally just looked it up. So I don't know. I stopped dealing with that guy. Let's see. Yeah, I remember gargoyles. I remember them very well. Or Star Trek, the animated series, as my dad would call it, because it was like half the voice cast was from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Alrighty. Well, I've been going for about an hour and a half. It is 9:30 Eastern, and it is a Tuesday night instead of just a regular, Friday or something. So I'm going to bid everyone farewell. Again, thank you, Scott, so much for this stuff. Like, really, thank you so much. Your generosity is just incredible. So I'm going to have to make some decisions about opening, which I've already made it. They're going to get open. I just have to decide when. So, but yeah, a lot of memories here, and just impeccable. So, have a good night, everyone. Thank you again, Scott. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I appreciate everyone who showed up, and I had a great time. So I will see everyone in the next video. Good night.